Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, and today I'm going to be giving you 10 tips on how to read nonfiction books. Just to preface, I've always kind of read nonfiction books. I was going back through the books that I have read on my Goodreads, and I noticed that there were a lot more nonfiction books than I thought there was. I realized that unintentionally I had read quite a few celebrity memoirs throughout the years, and I have tried to read more nonfiction in the past, and I have some of those books here to show you. But in October of 2024, I really made a promise to myself that I wanted to start reading some of the nonfiction books that I had on my shelf. I have tons of unread nonfiction on my TBR, and it felt impossible to conquer until I just started reading. And today I'm going to be showing you the tips that helped me the most. Let me read 9 nonfiction books in the past 6-ish months. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them have been on my physical TBR. Soon to be 7. I forgot one. And I am almost done with this one. So I am by no means an expert. These are just things that have helped me with the books that I was interested in reading for nonfiction. And so I'm just going to share those with you today. Oh my gosh, I'm rambling in circles. Okay, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I would love to talk more about the nonfiction books that I've been reading on this channel. Let me know in the comments below if that's something that you're interested in. I know that nonfiction can be super daunting. One thing about nonfiction that is kind of just a crap piece of advice that maybe you may get sometimes is oh, well, you just do it. Because nonfiction is normally a lot denser than fiction. I used to just think that you could plow through a nonfiction book the same as a fiction romance novel. That's not to say that all romance novels are easy to get through, but I'm thinking fluffy popcorn romances. I read them too, I love them. It's just a comparison. So, tip number 1 for starting your nonfiction reading journey is start with something short and small. Maybe something like self-help. I do tend to veer away from self-help just because sometimes it can be really weirdly self-indulgent. It's not my favorite. Or maybe a book of essays. I'm partial to the book of essays. I love people's opinions on things. I do have a few that I'm going to recommend. I don't have recommendations for all of my tips and stuff, but just a few for today. First 2 I have are by the same person, Bell Hooks. I have All About Love, New Visions. I do recommend starting with this book. This is the first book that I read on my nonfiction kind of journey. And I'm in love with this book. I already feel I want to reread it. I clearly have a lot of things that are tabbed. This book is all about love, obviously. But it's not just love in the romantic sense. It talks about friendship love, familial love, love in all of its aspects. And then this one's more, it's hard because this one, the second one is Communion, the Female Search for Love. I think is important for every woman, whether or not you're in a relationship, to read it. The Female Search for Love makes it kind of sound like it's only for women seeking relationships or, single women. It specifically dives into women and love. Similar to this, but it's the female version of that. And then for the male version of that, The Will to Change Men, Masculinity, and Love by Bell Hooks. I have not read this. I'm just saying, this could be a counterpart to this. This one's not entirely about love. On the back, it says, men cannot change if there are no blueprints for change. Men cannot love if they are not taught the art of loving. Love is vital to maleness, to the spiritual and emotional wholeness men seek. So that's a quote on the back from the book. So I do want to read this sometime soon. One thing that I love about Bell Hook's work is that the font is really big and these books are really short. This first one has 13 chapters and a conclusion. I believe it's only like it's like 240 pages. It is super short. Yeah, so any of Bell Hooks' work, I highly recommend. I will probably read this soon because it's shorter than the other ones. How many pages is this? 188 pages. So that one's much shorter than the other ones. So Bell Hooks. And then I also have Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. They have a really beautiful, what would the color be? Like a very deep pink edition for the 10-year anniversary of this book. It's a book of essays, a lot about like cultural stuff. I have not finished it, as you can see. Me not finishing this is an unfortunate byproduct of me thinking that I can plow through books similar to fiction books, and I really burnt myself out. I have about 19 essays left, and all the essays are super short, and so I just need to do like the one a day type thing. And then one more I have that I've read some of, but not all, and I don't own a copy of this, but Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I want to go back, restart it, because it was kind of a soft DNF for me, but I just haven't gotten back to it yet. Number 2, memoirs are best consumed in audiobook format. Obviously, that's an opinion of grandeur, but most memoirs, at least of what I've read, have been read by the authors. I like the unique perspective of them being able to tell their own stories. For example, I read Dear Girls by Ali Wong, who is a comedian, and it was like listening to a 6-hour comedy special by her. It was awesome. So I highly suggest like using your digital library app. I use Libby to listen to memoirs from that perspective. Tip number 3, stick to one chapter or a certain amount of pages a day. I do one chapter a day, but I know challenges like the 75 hard or 75 soft, they aim for like 10 to 15 pages a day. Either way, a little bit every day is going to help you continue learning something every single day. Tip number 4, sometimes you need a break. So while I do try as much as possible to adhere to the one chapter a day, sometimes I'm busy and can't get to it that day. Maybe I can only read half of a chapter that day, or maybe I just forego reading my nonfiction book overall. Please don't see yourself as a failure. While I set the standard for myself of like, oh, I want to read a chapter of nonfiction every day, when I'm writing down my weekly goals, normally I put like, oh, I want to read like 4 chapters of it. So I can strive for 7 chapters, but normally I end up hitting around that 4 or 5 mark because I, do Monday through Friday, and then I enjoy my weekends with my boyfriend. I want to push myself while also being realistic with my time and energy. Number 5, this may sound like really consumerist, but annotating and tabbing my books is something that has helped me critically engage with the text that I've been reading. It doesn't have to be anything special, but this helps me be able to reference certain passages again, or I can put my own opinions and thoughts in the margin. It's a great way to engage with your books, plus I think it gives your book character. But only do this if you own the book that you are reading. For example, currently I'm reading All the Single Ladies, Unmarried Women, and the Rise of an Independent Nation by Rebecca Traister. And I'm almost done with this book. But so this is the tab. I got these for a gift, I believe, for Christmas, but just got like a big pack of them on Amazon, and I've been using this same one for all of the books that I've read so far in the past 6 months. And so 1, 2, 3, 4 of the little tabby things are gone because I've been tabbing so much. So this is just a few things that I have tabbed, and I just think that it's really fun and it helps me engage with what I'm reading more. And sometimes I just put my opinions in the margin, sometimes I highlight stuff. That just helps me. It has led to me buying more of the nonfiction books I'm reading, but because I know that I will reference them back or probably reread them sometime in my life, I don't feel too much about accumulating those. Number 6, Remind yourself that no book goes on forever. I know that it can seem like it'll take forever to finish the book if you only do a chapter today, but many nonfiction books in my experience have between 10 to 15 chapters, which means you could probably finish around 2 nonfiction books a month if you really wanted to. And that's more than not reading any at all. For example, I read The Ethical Slut in January, February-ish. And while this isn't like my favorite book of the nonfiction books that I've read, it has 24 chapters. And each one's about 10 to 15 pages. It looks longer because it's in 4 parts and it's 24 chapters. But this book is also like bigger than a regular book. It's a little bit taller, a little bit bigger. But I did get to a point where I could read around 2 chapters of this a day, but it probably took me around 20-ish days to finish, and I finished it. Like, no book goes on forever. You just gotta remind yourself of that. Number 7, read fiction books alongside your nonfiction. You don't have to be like brain on all the time. Sometimes you just need a fluffy book that you don't really need to critically engage with. That's what I do. I'm not a monogamous reader. I am always reading around 4 books at the same time. So I have like a physical book, an audiobook, a nonfiction book, and then most of the time other audiobooks kind of sneak in there. Number 8, remember that you won't always agree with everything you read. Every human has their own opinions, even the person writing the book. I like to use nonfiction to open up conversations to see what other people are thinking about things. So, for example, in Bad Feminist, while I don't remember all of the essays that I've read so far, the one that has always stuck with me, and I haven't picked up this book in over a year, is that Roxane Gay doesn't believe in trigger warnings, which is really interesting to me. The biggest thing I remember about it is she said, you can't control how you can't control like your intake of life, so it's kind of stupid to try and regulate your intake of media in that way through trigger warnings. And I wholeheartedly disagree with that, but that's just her opinion, and it wasn't like her opinion wasn't educated or well thought out. She wrote an entire little essay about it, like, you know. But I don't agree with that, and that's fine. That doesn't make her bad or I hate this book or anything like that. It just is. And that's one thing to remember, is that you won't agree with everything you read, but that doesn't mean that the author is bad. That doesn't mean that, like, you're right, they're wrong. It just is. Number 9, share things you've learned with others. There's no point in learning all this stuff to keep it huddled inside your mind. Talk with your friends and family about what you're reading. And this is how I've had some of the most thought-provoking and insightful conversations with my friends over the past 6 months. For example, in Communion by Bell Hooks, it talks a lot about how women felt that feminism failed them in the 70s and 80s because men were so cool with women having their own, like, they were cool with feminism outside of the home where it benefited the men, where, like, you know, women were working jobs. But in the home, it wasn't beneficial to men to be an equal partner. Therefore, they didn't like feminism within their own homes, but they were chill with it outside of their homes. So a lot of women who got married to men were pissed because they were like, my man said that he was a feminist and he still thinks it's okay to just like do whatever he wants to me and not raise the children, and I have to take care of the home even though I'm working and all this stuff. And I thought that that was really, really interesting, and I was able to bring that up in conversation to my boyfriend when we were just dating, and I was like, hey, this is something that I've also experienced. I don't want it to happen again. Can we talk about this? And we were able to, and it was a really good conversation that we had. Number 10, remember that reading nonfiction is supposed to be fun. You don't have to finish the book if you don't want to, if it's not resonating with you, if the content of it is not working for you. Just move on to something else. It's no different than a fiction book in that way. Nobody, unless obviously you're reading it for school, nobody is making you read the book. So make sure to have fun with it, and that is truly the most important part. Alrighty, and those are my 10 tips for reading nonfiction books. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any further tips for reading nonfiction, I would love to hear them. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you in our little growing community. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!